Thank you for clicking on the video. Welcome back to the channel. This is another review for the Dahmer series on Netflix. This is episode 3. Let me preface by saying, to those of you, because I did it once, I've done it twice. This is my 3rd time saying it. I ain't saying it no more. I ain't saying it no more. So after this, if y'all still feeling away, Buzz don't even care. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I don't give up about that. I don't. Anyway, let me preface by saying each and every victim involved in this case, their families, I wholeheartedly empathize with them and what they've been through and what they're currently going through now that this has, resurfaced. It's not a laughing matter. It's not a joking matter. These are people's real life traumas. And so they're not to be mocked, laughed at, or anything like that. Put a pin right there. Let's put a period right there. But my style of review is lighthearted. And so even with the most traumatic events that I have to review or talk about, make no mistake about it, it's gonna be lighthearted. It's gonna be lighthearted because I don't like feeling heavy. This isn't that channel. So if you want everything to be all drab and heavy over here and so serious, and this, I am not the reviewer for you when it comes to this show. Any show that I review, especially fictional television, reality TV, whatever it may be, scripted television for sure, I'm gonna absolutely give it a lighthearted feel because it's already heavy enough. So why come over here and do that some more? We're over here talking about a whole serial killer. If you think I'm not gonna make light of all of this darkness, then again, I'm sorry. But that's what it is over here. It's lighthearted with everything. And so you can be mad. You cannot like it. You can find it strange. I don't care. It's lighthearted over here, and that's how it's going to stay. Be getting in them comments trying to check me on my tone and delivery in my video. This is my shit over here. And if you don't like it, there are a plethora of people reviewing this show. Go over there with them where they over there crying and carrying on and too serious and trying to solve the case that's already been solved. It's 1959. Mrs. Dahmer is pregnant. She's pregnant with Jeffrey. Mr. Dahmer, we see him driving home, and he drives past his pregnant wife at a bus stop in the cold, the freezing cold. It's snowing outside, and she's in her nightgown just sitting at the bus stop looking dazed and confused. And I'm just like, already something is mentally wrong with this here. Anyway, he gets her back at the house and everything, and we see them going to see a doctor, and he's asking, what are the medications that you're taking, all of that. And of course, she tries to make light of it, like she's just taking a few for this and for that. And Mr. Dahmer, interrupts and is like, no, she got refills on refills on refills. It's supposed to be as needed, but she done ran out of the refills. I mean, just exhausted them. She's taking 26 pills a day. 26 pills a day. And so if y'all don't think that all of that had anything to do with her unborn child, you crazy. Back then, they was just letting women do anything with when they were with child. Oh, yeah, go have a beer. Smoke some cigarettes. What? So I guess people had to just die. Kids had to be born with fetal alcohol syndrome and all kind of, effects from the tobacco. I guess kids just had to be born all kind of deformed and all of that for the doctors in those times to say, maybe you shouldn't do that. I mean, I guess with technology evolving, so does medicine. Who would have knew? Anyway, She on sleeping pills, laxatives, Valium, barbiturates. She on everything. She on everything. And she a junkie because she can't get off of that stuff either. She just keeps adding to her little cocktail. Mr. Dahmer is concerned with her unborn child, you know, as am I. She absolutely contributed to the way his mental state was and how it turned out in his development. Damn, Jeffrey. Like, I mean, from before you even got here, it was just your fate was just sealed. She really wants to know what's going on with her, though, like mentally. Doctors just continue to prescribe this and prescribe that, and they're always making her feel like she's doing something wrong. And then this doctor tells her, oh, you're just confused. Your hormones are all over the place. She like, what is wrong with me? Like, chemically, I need to know. She need to know what's going on. She's not enjoying this pregnancy at all. Most mothers are supposed to enjoy being pregnant. She hating it. And that's not normal either. You know, like, everybody don't want to be pregnant. You can, I love my children, love them, but I hated being pregnant as well. Don't want to be pregnant ever again. It wasn't fun, especially when you're sick, all that. No. And any mother pretending like that was an enjoyable experience for her, good for you. Good for you. Anyway, it's 1977. And Jeffrey is out fishing with his dad. He's a teenager now, senior in high school. He shows him how to hook a worm, and he tells him, you know, I like to, here's the head, and I like to think there's the ass, like right there. And that's where you shove it up. So you shove the needle up there, you know, you hook it like that, and then you're good to go. It could be a female snail, and then you just be putting it in, right? Hey, right? I know you guys, I know you and your buddies always talking about sex. Jeffrey looking like, I don't like girls. Did you find you a nice girl? So yeah, what about the girls? Dating any girls? Nah, I don't really like them. That was your answer, Daddy. He don't like the girls. Not just the girls at the school. He don't like women like that. Not like that. And Daddy knew that. Trying to get him to talk about the sex with girls and all of that. It was crass ass joke. Anyway, he asked, oh, I already said that. Dahmer, you know, he says, you know how it works, right? And Jeffrey looking like, what? You know how it works, right? You know, having sex with a woman. He don't know about none of that, you know. He talking about, I'm sure your friends, you know y'all got Playboy magazines and in the locker and all of that. Jeffrey is like, Dad, we don't have to talk about this. Like, we don't have to have the sex talk. I know you're trying to figure out where my sexuality lies, but we don't even have to have that conversation right now. Afterwards, he shows him, you know, how to skin and gut the fish that they caught or whatever. And of course, Jeffrey is just standing over him, salivating. And his dad goes to do Jeffrey's fish as well. And Jeffrey's like, can I do my own? And he's like, sure, you know, come on over here and get, you know, go ahead. That night, he in his room masturbating, just really going at it. He got his Playboy book sitting next to him, but titties and coochie just ain't doing it for him. It's not working out. He gets interrupted anyway by his parents. They out there arguing. Mama been chasing UFOs, so she's really out there. She has really lost it. And she took the car and she out chasing UFOs. They fighting or whatever. And of course, Jeffrey goes out there and he's eavesdropping and he's standing there. And of course, Mr. Dahmer, when he sees him, go back in your room, mind your business, all of that. Jeffrey go back in there, lay back down and keep on masturbating. But this time he tossed the magazine to the side. And he thinks and fantasizes about gutting that fish. That just really did it for him. Crazy ass. He is crazy as hell. He come right away too. So this is when he realizes that this is what turns him on. At school the next day, the jocks, they want Jeffrey, you know, they want to laugh at him. He's the butt of their joke. And Jeffrey is none the wiser. But anyway, they want Jeff, do the thing you did in Spanish class. And so Jeffrey imitates a special needs person. And somebody his mom supposedly knows. I don't know, but he's imitating. They get a good laugh, and then he carries on and keeps going. And it sounded like he was saying, Joyce, put down the knife. Put down the knife, Joyce. I'm like, what are you talking about? Maybe I was crazy, but I feel like that. I'm like, am I hearing, is he saying that? Is he saying that? I don't know. They don't laugh this time. No, they're looking at him like, okay. now it's getting weird. All right now. Anyway, they get to science class and they're about to dissect a pig. Denise, Jeffrey's partner, she's like, is this mandatory? I'm a vegetarian. I don't want to do this. You know, she starts to make a little fuss about it. And Jeffrey's like, shut up, Denise. Ready to get started. I want to do this. Jeffrey dissect that pig all by himself. And I mean, really, working ahead. Because, of course, the teacher is, you know, trying to instruct them on what to do and how to open up the chest cavity, all that. And I don't even know why we need to do this. Because, I mean, y'all can really just show me this in the book. I do not need to dissect frogs and animals and small animals to find out about the anatomy. Just show me an anatomy book. I hope they have done away with this type of foolishness. So barbaric. I'm not even one of them PETA people. But I feel like this just goes against what God wants. I just really do. Anyway, after class, Jeffrey, like I said, he was going ahead because they supposed to just be cutting the cavity. Jeffrey already got the heart in his hand looking at it. And the teacher's like, Jeff, not yet. You're not supposed to take the heart out yet. Wait for the class. After class, you know, the teacher notices, you know, this you really got into it today. You really enjoyed class today. That's good. That's good. I'm glad to see that you're, you know, grasping everything. Glad to see that you're having a good time in my class. And Jeffrey says to him, can I take one of the pigs home? And the teacher's like, no, he said he want to take the pig home to practice. And the teacher's looking like, in my 20 years of teaching, nobody's ever wanted to take the pig home. You know what? I'll go ahead. I'll let you go ahead and do it. What is wrong with the adults in this whole situation? Episodes 3 and 4, but mainly 3 because we got a lot of his background and you saw a lot of the adults that dropped the ball in his life. It's just, they all suck. All of them, the teachers, the police, his parents, everybody, just piss poor. Anyway, when he's leaving and headed home, he runs into the that jock in the hallway, and he tell, you know, I really could. That was fun, really sticking it to that bitch Denise, wasn't it? And you know, Jeff feel like, oh, you trying to be my friend? Like you really talking to me? So I'm finna go home. I got one of the pigs. I got one of them. So you wanna come back to the house and let's dissect it? And he's like, you got what? I took one of the pigs. You don't want to come over? What? Are you serious? No. I'm not going nowhere with you. So once again, you're the butt of the joke. They're laughing at you. They're not laughing with you. He's just a bully, so he just was like, oh, it was good to see another child. It was good to see another student getting bullied, and it wasn't by me. That was his whole thing. Mr. Dahmer and Mrs. Dahmer, they're in a custody hearing. The judge ends up giving custody to Mrs. Dahmer. And so they give him visitation or whatever. And Mr. Dahmer is pissed. I mean, pissed off. So she has custody of the youngest son. And he's like, what are we going to do about Jeffrey? And she's like, he's 17. He's a grown man. He'll figure it out. And she just stormed out. What? You just going to abandon your child? He's not a grown man. He's a teenager. Fuck you, Joyce. That's where I'm at with it. Anyway, Jeffrey, he get home. And his father is home alone. Mr. Dahmer ends up filling him in on the divorce and everything. And Jeffrey asks, you know, can I still live with you? And he tells him, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. He's like, what's that smell? Oh, I brought home a fetal pig. Brought it home to practice. Oh, that's good, Jeffrey. It's good that you still like science. Anyway, Jeffrey is riding around listening to that song. He be listening to that song. They'll be saying, please don't go. And he passes this guy that's jogging. He looking all dreamy, of course, lusting after him. When he gets home, he finds his mother packing up her car. You know, she had just dropped by to get some something, I guess. And she's saying that she's, you know, packing up to go. And Jeffrey's like, I can't leave. I got graduation. I got prom. And she's like, what you talking about? Lee, and you ain't going nowhere. You'll be right here. Me and your brother getting up out of here. Please. Jeffrey is like, you just can't leave. Like, you know, how you gonna leave me? You know, she tells him that there is stew in the fridge. Like, have at it. She tells him to cut the shit. You know, you ain't never wanted mom. You ain't never wanted Joyce. Nigga, you just like your dad. Neither one of y'all ever wanted Joyce. You ain't never wanted no mama. You ain't never wanted me. So don't try to pretend like you want me now. You'll be just fine. You ain't never asked me to come out there and mutilate dead carcass. You ain't never asked me to do that. The roadkill stuff you do with your daddy. Y'all just be bonding over y'all hate for me and y'all thinking that I'm crazy. You ain't never asked me. And he's like, but I never thought that you would. And I don't. And I don't, because it's sick. It's sick. But it would have been nice to be asked. Mama pack up all her shit and leave. I'm like, girl, okay. She's off to go chase more UFOs. Jeffrey goes into the house. You know, he by himself now, so he starts setting up the weights in the living room. And this is when he starts drinking heavily, like binge drinking every single day. We see him out driving again. He's patrolling now. You know, he's really strolling, on the stroll, I should say, because he keeps passing that same guy, you know, getting his routine. Heads to the liquor store and buys some cases of beer, and then he heads home. He's just at home binge drinking alone. Just drinking himself to death. Because, I mean, he binge drinks like something serious. And it's like and you're never sick. All that beer. He starts pretending people are there with him. You know, like, it's bad. It's bad when he be drunk. He in there pretending people there with him. And I mean, for days, he just gets drunk and sits at home alone talking to himself. Then we see that he's out driving again, and he sees the guy. And, you know, I guess he's slowly working up the nerve to approach him. I don't know. But he goes home and he lifts some weights some more. And then, of course, he's just stewing. He's just stewing in depression and his crazy and whatever thoughts are going through his mind. He knows that guy's routine. And so we see him take a bat, and he's sneaking into the bushes, hiding behind some bushes. He's finna jump out on this man when he run past. And sure enough, the guy is running down the trail. Jeffrey jumps out the bushes with the bat, and then it cuts. And then Jeffrey is with the guy, you know, back at his apartment, offering him a drink and telling him, you know, about his sob story about his parents leaving and all of that and them abandoning him. And he's just, you know, telling the guy he feels better now that he has some company. And all of this was in his mind. All of it. Because we cut right back. And he's standing there. He was in a daze just thinking about that. And the guy is looking like, what the hell going on? He just take off running. Lucky you, sir, because listen, he definitely had intentions for you. Absolutely. Mr. Dahmer. No, not Mr. Dahmer, excuse me, Mrs. Dahmer. Well, I don't know if she kept the name or not, but Jeffrey's mama is at some type of, I don't know if this is a mental institution or some type of women's shelter. I don't know, but she's in there helping with the women. And the director comes out, you know, she wants to talk to her, and she tells her, you know, thank you. You know, you give up a lot of your time to help the ladies and all of that. I'm assuming she and her husband own the establishment, because she's saying that her husband, has to relocate. So that means she has to relocate, and she's gonna leave the clinic, I guess. I don't know, the center. She's gonna leave the center to her. And it's safe to say she's got her life together. The lady tells her, what you were suffering from, I believe, was postpartum depression. And we just didn't have a name for it, or didn't know what was going on in the 50s. And so now that we know, it's safe to say that that's what you were dealing with. Mama done got it together now, And so we don't see her no more. So I'm assuming that's how her life panned out. Jeffrey gets to class, and he drunk as hell. He got a whole case of beer and brought it to class. He pull it out, sit it on the desk and everything. The teacher was like, Jeffrey, is that beer? Jeffrey don't care. Now he in there talking to his guidance counselor, and the guidance counselor, she don't really care. She halfway doing her job. So have you applied to college? What about community college? All that. She's trying to figure out what he wants to do with his future. And she says she's been trying to contact Mr. Dahmer, to get him in on these conferences, but he ain't answering, and neither is his mama. She asked him what his dreams are. He says he loves science class and he loves taxidermy. The counselor says, okay, well, maybe that's a career path you can go with. And then Jeffrey says, yeah, maybe, but I'm no good at math. And then he says his new hobby is fitness. And then she says, oh, great, that's a direction you can go in. Girl, that's your response to everything? Sorry ass counselor. That's most guidance counselor. My guidance counselor told me that same, was just completely nonchalant and just did not give a fuck about my future. Mr. Severi. I think that's how you said his name. Mr. Severi. Severi. I feel like I'm pronouncing it wrong. Anyway, his sorry ass tried to tell me, because I was applying to Berkeley School of Music. I was in piano lessons. My piano teacher was trying to set me up. Granted, I ended up going to a HBCU, and I'll never trade that for the world. But what I'm saying is, don't be telling black kids that they can't go to Ivy League schools or that they can't reach for the stars, especially when there is talent behind said black child. Now that's just, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Counselor lady, you don't do that to kids. You don't just, you can't take a back seat when it's your job to help cultivate young minds and help these kids. Anyway, anyway, that counselor wasn't worth a damn. But anyway, Jeffrey is driving home, and he runs into a hitchhiker. I guess he's like, bingo. Hitchhiker standing out there in his booty shorts and no shirt. He said he headed to a concert, and he's going out there to meet his friends. And Jeffrey is like, cool. What time do you have to be there? And he says the show starts at 7:30. And Jeffrey says, how about this? I'm just headed home. How about we crack open some beers, smoke some weed, lift some weights? And I was thinking, that threw me off, that lift some weight stuff. I guess because of the time that we're in the late 70s, maybe that was a thing. That was like something that they did when they hung out, lift weights. So stupid. I don't know. That's just, it's almost like in the 80s, aerobics was real popular, and so everybody wanted to do aerobics. So I'm assuming this is the same thing. They had lifting weights was new, and so everybody wanted to lift weights. I don't know, but the guy says, cool, okay, he gonna go on over there. He says he gonna take him after. So the guy hops in. His name is Steven. Steven made a big mistake. That's why you don't hitchhike. That right there is why you don't just get in people's car. Jeffrey gets him back at the house. They smoking the reefer and lifting weights or whatever. And Jeffrey, he's smiling from ear to ear because he finally got some company, some male company. Steven feels like they should, head out. They done spent enough time around their pregame. And he's like, all right, I feel like it's time for us to head on out. And Jeffrey is like, no, we got time. And then Steven is like, we got to go. I got to meet my buddies at 7. He's like, no, come on, just have one more beer with me. And Steven is, like, bruh, I got to go. Like, I got to get out there to the concert. I'm really not trying to miss the concert. And Jeffrey gives him some pushback, some more, because he's getting anxious now. And then he just flat out kisses the guy. And the guy pushes him off like, what? Why would you kiss me? What is this? Listen, take me to the concert right now. I don't know what you got going on or what you thought this was, but that's not what this is. Like, he goes off on him. Jeffrey still, with that, I was just joking. I was just playing. No, you weren't playing. He calls him the F word, a few other things, and he just tries to storm off. Jeffrey picked up one of the weights and gave him one of them across the head, and it knocked the man out. And Steven is just completely dazed, gasping for air. It's almost like he did a shift was there, and from getting hit in his head like that, there was a shift with that brain, because he didn't know how to do nothing after that. It was like it paralyzed him for real. He couldn't get up. He couldn't get his bearings after being hit like that. And Jeffrey climbs over him like, I didn't want to have to do that. Why'd you make me do that? Come on, just stop. I wanted you to stay, just stop. And the guy trying to fight back like, fuck you. He's trying to fight back all slow because, again, he's been hit upside his head with a heavy weight. And Jeffrey gets on top of him, strangles him out, and then doesn't even realize that that's what he did. Or that's what he was doing. I don't know what Jeffrey thought was going to happen behind strangling someone and never letting go. So he's just killed this man. And he's in denial. He started kissing on him and rubbing on him and then laying with him. And then he sits up like, you ain't dead. Slapping him. Come on, get up. Oh no. Then we have that moment where the back and forth in his psyche, where his mind is really trying to protect him from the traumatic event that just happened. And so his mind is like, I'm sure that the back and forth is, no, they're not dead. No, yes, they are dead. And I did it. No, ain't nothing wrong with you. No, something is wrong with you. And I did it. No, ain't nothing. He went that whole thing back and forth. And then until finally, yes, the deed is done. And he's sitting up there. He actually has remorse. Evan showed us some remorse. I'm sure. I don't know what Jeffrey really did, but because it don't look like Jeffrey can show any type of remorse. It's giving sociopath, like they don't show remorse. And so I'm not believing Jeffrey was just in there crying about it, but Evan cried. Evan gave us some emotion behind it, some emotion and remorse. And he takes Steven and drags him outside and tries to bury him under the house where that raccoon was. And he puts him out there. And then that night, he's just sitting in silence. I don't know what was going on. This is what I'm saying. I felt like he might have actually shown a little bit of remorse here for what had just happened, but I don't know. He goes back out there and gets Steven, pulls him out from under the house, and then he takes him to the shed where, he and his dad did the taxidermy. And this is where he decides he's going to need to cut him up to dispose of him. And so that he does. He goes back into the house, gets a case of beer, he's in there rummaging, looking for a knife, and then he finds that saw that he continued to use. And, the electric knife. He grabs the electric knife, goes on in there, like I said, cuts up Steven. Then we see him out drinking and driving, swerving on the road, and he gets pulled over. And this always bothered me. This is one of those stories that always follows him, or that is always covered in every docuseries or documentary that I've ever seen about Jeffrey. This is one of those. This is one of those situations that always stands out because the police are dumb as fuck. They pulled the man over for swerving and all of that, and the police officer can see the bags. What's in them bags? Oh, my parents just got divorced, you see, and I just been really tore up about it. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about it. I'm about to, graduate and all of that, and or has he graduated? I can't remember. But anyway, he gives them, some bullshit story, and then tells them that it's clippings from the yard. He's been out there doing yard work. It's just clippings. He's taking them to the dump. They don't even look no further. Steven was in those bags. And we would have gotten him off the road, off the streets, a long time, way before he ever got to 11 victims. Y'all love to smell a little blunt powder and start searching cars. So you see bags full of stuff, man swerving in and out of traffic. He looked crazy, but he's a white man. So, I mean, of course, they're not going to look in his car. I mean, they'll have folks sitting on the curb because they feel like they smell some weed. But y'all didn't feel like y'all needed to sit Jeffrey on the curb and check those bags. Out dumping shit in the middle of the night like that. That could have. First of all, you're doing yard work at night. It's odd, strange, but okay. Anyway. I think that's where it ends. Yeah, we see it ends with him flushing parts of Steven down the toilet. He's in there smashing some of the bones in the basement, and then we see him take some up to the roof, and he has the nerve to pray over Steven before, like, doing one of the LeBron James moves with all the dust in the air. Bones, too. Some of the bones wasn't all the way smashed. They just flying, all that. And it's just like, what? And he live in a neighborhood. So, what was the neighbors? I just saw him up there. Like, what the fuck he up there doing? What is he out? I'm the nosy neighbor. Absolutely. I'll be out here looking out my window. So, I would have saw Jeffrey dragging that man and been like, is that a body? Oh, hell no. And got on the line. And that would have ended all of this. But people don't be minding. People don't be minding the neighbor's business like they should. Anyway, let me get off of here. I want to review episode 4 before I have to go get these churned. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's Call Me Busby, and I'll chat with you later. Bye.